What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Thank you so much again for tuning in today. Please make sure, again, if you haven't already, check out part one of our conversation with Melissa Evans. Make sure to click right up here and go check that out. But again, thank you so much, Melissa, for joining us again for part two. Just to kind of talk a little bit more about what's been going on with you and NC State volleyball.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk about this. It's been so great so far. Please check out part one if you haven't, like you said.
Yeah. So Melissa, one of the biggest things which I actually wanted to kind of start off by asking, because it was something I didn't get a chance to ask you in part one, but I wanted to ask about. So you mentioned in part one about how you actually tried playing beach volleyball, but that was not your thing. And so I wanted to kind of ask, I mean, how big of a difference is it between beach and, court in terms of technique, besides just necessarily the amount of players per se?
Yeah, I was going to say probably the biggest difference is, the 2 players versus 6, but it's everything, man. It's how you play. It's how you serve, how you dig, how you set. You can't really set a ball. Like, you have to make sure it's clean. Like, there's no spin, no nothing. So a lot of the time people are just going to bump set it because it's probably the safest way. You won't get called. Sand is really hard to play in. I don't know if you've ever ran in sand, but that is very hard in itself. So it's just a lot of difference, and the courts are smaller. So like I said, you have 2 people, so you can't cover the whole ground of 6 players, but it's definitely challenging. You can't really jump as high as you usually would. So my start in volleyball definitely did not look pretty, especially since I was on sand, but here I am.
Yep, there you are. Yeah, because definitely, we're in the middle of the Olympics right now, and so watching, beach volleyball. I feel like with beach volleyball is kind of, it's more like interesting and pretty, like this beautiful thing to watch, because these 2 people like working hand in hand to make a play. But with court volleyball, seeing 2 people jump up the block and all these crazy digs and all that, it's more action packed. I would say it's just like, man, like I don't know how y'all react as fast as you do, like to get on the floor as quickly as you do to go after those digs. That's something I've never been able to wrap my head around. So
I'm not one of them. I don't get up fast. You got to talk to our liberos and DSs.
Yes. So, one of the things that I wanted to kind of dig in now is, so, kind of talking more about heading into this year. So you just came off of obviously a record-breaking 2020 with being the first NC State player actually in program history to record four All ACC honors, and you actually got first team All ACC in 2020. So first of all, congratulations to you on that. Obviously that set a high bar. So do want to ask, for going into 2021, what kind of goals do you have for yourself heading into 2021? Obviously from the team aspect, but also maybe from the personal aspect.
Hopefully, one of my big goals is being a 5th time All ACC. Hopefully, not a lot of people get a 5th year, so why not, make it almost impossible to get one. But that's definitely one on my list. And with the team, just kind of going back to the NCAA tournament, started off with a bang, want to end it off with a bang. That's probably a big part. And I also want to be, outside of volleyball, another goal of mine during the season is being more involved in the community. I don't think I've really, especially during season, it's kind of hard, but especially having only like 3 courses in the fall, why not try to give more to the community, especially being here for 5 years. They've given me so much support and love, and just want to, give back and use my platform as a student athlete to, make change in the community if it's needed. So that's probably another one. And then my big goal is being an All-American. So praying on that one.
Yes. No, that'd be awesome. That'd be amazing. And it's kind of like, so, for wrestling, for those who, don't follow wrestling, and I don't know, Melissa, if you do or not, but so like Hayden Heidelay, he has been a 4-time ACC champion. And so now because of COVID, he's able to come back for a 5th year. And so he'd be the first ever, and possibly there will never be a 5-time ACC champion. Like, that's just never a thing. And so for you, if you could get All ACC for 5 years, I don't know statistically if that's ever been a thing, but I don't know how it's possible. How can you redshirt a year and get All ACC? So
it doesn't happen. I think with COVID, there's been so many negatives, but that's definitely a plus,
Sure.
Getting my master's paid off in 5 years and starting all 5 years. It's crazy to think, but
Hmm.
COVID did make that happen. Like there were so many negative things, but COVID definitely made this happen. And like Hayden, he's taking his 5th year opportunity, and a lot of
Hmm.
student athletes across the nation are doing the exact same thing. So it's been great for us, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. No, again, that's the biggest thing is out of all this, really just trying to focus on the positives. There's been a lot of negatives to say the least, but
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully the biggest thing also, even for me as well, is I think that hopefully state fans have a lot more appreciation for seeing games in person.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, one thing for me that I know for 2021 is a big goal of mine is to go to all the games I can, volleyball,
Mm-hmm.
softball, baseball, you name it. So that's going to be big for
Yeah.
me. So definitely throughout your 4 years so far, you've had many accomplishments, such as being second NC State volleyball history with 1,189 career kills. You were actually senior class award candidate, and you actually were AC All Freshman team. So I wanted to kind of ask, if there was one accomplishment that you were the most proud of, what would you say that would be?
Um, I know it's not really advertised, but I did get the award, and that's like just like with NC
Mm-hmm.
State, and it's with all the athletes.
Yep.
And it's more than being a student athlete. Like that award recognizes your contributions to the community, to NC
Mm-hmm.
State, as well as your sport.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably the one that I've been most excited for. And
Mm-hmm.
then another one would probably be the 2020 fall class outstanding graduate of my communications program. And that's not related to volleyball at all. That's a good one because it's like I said, it's not with volleyball, and it's really being a student athlete. It's really hard to, balance everything, especially going into your senior in grad school. It's been really hard, but it's just feels really good. And, it makes me feel like I'm doing something really well with getting an academic accomplishment and award. So,
Yep, absolutely. No, and good for you as well for picking out two that aren't necessarily from the court itself. They're from off the court, mostly as well. So definitely hats off on that. So entering your graduate year. So has this year changed at all in terms of scheduling or commitments? So I mean, you kind of said so like your class schedules kind of decrease some, which
mhm.
allow you to kind of do more things. So, but I mean, is there more opportunities now for training, watching film, things like that as well, growing on your actual game itself?
Yeah. So with the less classes that I'm taking, it does give me more opportunity to, be in Luca's office and, talk to him about statistics and figure out why I'm not doing this thing proper, why I'm not doing it as well as I should be, and really figuring out, this is how I'm going to succeed the most at NC State, as well as, being a really competitive right side in the nation. Um, and also just getting more time to myself. I know that sounds kind of
Mm-hmm.
cliche, but there's being like how many people you've interviewed, you don't get a lot of time to, connect with your family, especially my family who's in California. So that's probably another thing that I'm excited for. It's also my last year, so my parents are coming to more games. So
Great.
that's something I'm looking forward to, and just spending more time with my family, as well as bettering my craft for 6 more months until going overseas. So
Yep, absolutely. And because you actually mentioned this in part one, but I did want to kind of ask about it. So, in terms of actually just learning about volleyball, for those who of us, including myself, who don't really know in terms of a lot in terms of what kind of opportunities there are. So after college volleyball, so you mentioned that there is a pro league. So I mean, what is the makeup of that? Is that here in the United States? And I mean, can you kind of give some light in terms of what possibilities there are for you in terms of the game of volleyball after college?
So in the United States, some of the girls on Team USA created a pro league in the United States, and I think the first one was in Texas. Like they had a whole tournament, and it's called, I think it's like Unlimited Athlete or something along those lines. And it is in, like I said, it's a pro league in America, which is the first one that's ever been.
Hmm.
But you'll mostly go overseas and get, pro leagues. So there's a lot, literally everywhere except for the United States, which is shocking. But hopefully, either going to a really fun country like Italy or Greece, and just kind of, live out my pro volleyball league for as long as I possibly can. So that's my goal.
Do you have? Do you have any goal of seeing Coach Sabe again with Team USA at all, or anything like that?
Oh yeah, that's always a goal. Especially, having him for only 2 years. I want to experience him more because he's just such a great person and a great coach. So hopeful to be, part of Team USA somehow, some way. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, and kind of talking a little bit more about Coach Salbe. I know we talked in the first part, but so in terms of describing him, would you say that he is more like so between? Would you say he's more of a player coach, a strategic coach, or a leader coach? If you had to kind of pick one,
I would say all.
all of
He's
it.
just been he's been in volleyball for so long. He played for BYU and won national championships. So he understands what it's like to be a student athlete and to compete at the highest level. And that's where he wants to take this program.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so strategic. He tells us all the time that after practice, he'll go home and just write up practice plans because he can't sleep, and he'll just write up because he thinks this plan is going to work so well, or a lineup's just going to work so well. And he's led this program for only 2 years now, and we've done wonders. We've gotten so many transfers from different universities because they want to play for Lucas Labe because of his name, because of his connections, as well as getting a lot of foreign girls. We have one girl from Poland right now. And he just has so many connections, and they see him as a true leader and as a great player coach and strategic coach. So
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. So now that you've kind of given a lot of, kind of overall talking about him in general, wanted to kind of ask, I mean, like, is there like, one word that you would use to describe Coach Slave?
one word I would describe Coach Slave is a hard worker. He works hard at every single thing he does. And he also works really hard at building those connections and relationships on those teams because he doesn't want just volleyball players. He wants people that are great for the community, great for the program, will, help this culture, just keep being so inclusive and make everyone feel like they're at home and make it feel like a family.
Yep.
And like I said, he's just a hard worker at everything he does. There's some practices where he just plays with us, and being for his age, it's kind of hard, but he's always down to do it. So it's just, I don't know how else to explain him except for a hard worker.
I think that describes it right, but I just wanted to see if there was something else that you would kind of throw into the mix. So now I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit in terms of, obviously with the NCAA right now, there's a lot going on. And so one thing I wanted to get your opinion about, being, a current athlete is, so with the new NIL bylaw, name, image, likeness bylaw in place, one thing which I wanted to kind of get your thoughts about in terms of being a current player, because I remember that when the bylaw first came out, one of the things I was reading was actually about a former football coach, Chuck Amato, where he basically making a statement saying that if you don't put a limit in terms of how much these athletes can make, recruiting may eventually just become literally just who can pay the player the most. And and especially like looking like like Alabama, like for the football quarterback who hasn't played one game, but he's gotten already paid 7 figures. It's like, holy smokes, like what is, like, this is like, it just kind of like, for me as a fan, it kind of seems like that it could eventually become out of control. And so I wanted to kind of get your viewpoint for people like me who kind of see that, and I'm sure, understandably so, from your side of the player side, what would you kind of say to that?
I would say it's a yes and no. I think the yes is, like you said, some universities will have more opportunities to give student athletes better endorsements. So like Alabama, people will go to Alabama maybe because, they have better connections or have better brand deals that some of their other student athletes have. But no, because I feel like even if you are a football and basketball, those are probably the 2 sports that are going to benefit the most. And I also feel like women will benefit a lot from it because there's a lot of like clothing brands, jewelry brands, like things outside of sports that men usually won't get the opportunity for. I've gone along
Hmm.
jewelry endorsements. And I feel like my counterparts, the males, won't get those. And I think going off of that, the student athletes or the high school students, they've built up their repertoire essentially for having their fan base already, and having the skills to be such great student athletes in high school that these brands are gonna want to work with them regardless of what school they go to. And I think it's always like a yes and no. It's like we're finally getting paid for our name, likeness, and image. Like we've been doing this for the university for so long, but there's also a no to that. Like you don't want to work with brands that have not the best reputation, and you can get caught in this terrible downslope of you're just going to work with these brands and they're not going to give you enough money that you deserve for your following or your name or whatever it is. And I think you just have to be strategic to it. So the no to that, as well as high school students wouldn't have the best knowledge on what they should and shouldn't be doing, which kind of sucks, but that is reality of it. It's so new. It's literally been maybe 1 month. So
Yeah.
it's just so new. And I think with like NC State, and I feel like there's other programs across the nation at different schools, they're giving their student athletes their information that they need to, make the best decisions on who's going to manage them or who's going to do the X, Y, and Z, and what brands to work with and what to look for. And NC State's capitalized on that. It's like, we don't want our student athletes to be in the dark and, just sign random deals that aren't the best for them and aren't, the best for their image or whatever it is. So I think NC State's done a great job, but yeah, it does
Yeah.
suck because, there's like football players and basketball players that have a huge following, as they should, because they're great student athletes. But, for the
Yeah.
younger people or the smaller people on the team, they're not going to get that same opportunity. So I think it's like a tug and pull in that sense.
Yeah. No, and one of the biggest things which, I kind of think of too when I think about, the new NIL. So like, for example, like with NFL, you hear stories all the time of like these guys, because then they, when these, guys get drafted to the NFL, they're, what, 21, 22 years old. So, I mean, they're still young, and, lots, some players will, get these 7-figure, checks in their mail and just go crazy and just spend it all.
Yeah.
And because they don't know any better, they get excited and they go, this, I haven't had this much money in a long time. And so now you like look at like Alabama, somebody like, somebody getting paid 7 figures and they're 18 years 19 years old. And so the one thing which I kind of worry about, is the aspect of, also too, because, when you're working with, when you do sign these contracts with these places to represent them, if, let's say, again, mistakes happen, things happen, it's kind of at the end of the day, you're dealing with young adults, so that's the other thing I kind of worry about. But I think that's why too, it kind of, a lot of it comes down to the university. I know that that's something that I've seen a lot of recently, is if the universities really buying in on now, really teaching their athletes on how to handle
Yeah.
this. So I wanted to kind of get your viewpoint, not only what you think about what I just said, but also too about what have you seen being inside in terms of what has NC State done to set up, classes to kind of teach the athletes?
Yeah, and I think just going off of what you said, it's also not just on the university, but it's on your supporting, and it's like your supporters and who's, around you to really get you to the places that you want to be and become the person you want to be. You're going to come to college when you're 17 or 18 and you're not really going to know what you want to do with your endorsements. But if you have that support, system around you, that's like, this is something I think you could do with this brand because they have X, Y, and Z. They're going to give you
Mm-hmm.
all this. And no, this is not the best one. They don't have the best whatever. I think that's a
Mm-hmm.
huge part of it. And also NC State's done a great job. So we have this series, it's called Alpha, and it's giving us all the information you could ever have for the NIL. Because some of the people at NC State had the mindset of, oh, only football and basketball players are going to benefit from this. Like, it has nothing to do with me. Yes, it
Mm-hmm.
does. You can get
Mm-hmm.
so much out of this if you really know what you want to do and what brands you want to work with. There's also many apps that have been created. Ones that I'm on is Post Game, and they, see who, like, your followers, and see who's following you and see your name. And it's like, oh, these brands can work with you. Here's an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to work with them. You'll be selected if they want to work with you. And that's been so easy. It's not like I have to put all this work in. Like, no, it's like school, being a student
Yeah.
athlete, you have to work, but at the same time, if you follow what is given to you, you can do so well. So I think it's like NC State's been doing a great job too of educating us on what we should be looking for. That's like a red flag.
Yeah.
Because a
Yeah.
lot of us, this is so new, we're not grown-ups, you don't have a lot of things you have to think of as red flags, but NC State's done a great job. It's like, oh, if they have this type of wording or they're saying this to you and they're not giving this is a red flag. You should get
Yeah.
out or you shouldn't sign with them. So I think
Right.
NC State's been doing great.
Good. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I can just hope out and pray out of all this, that at the end of the
Yeah.
day, since everything's becoming more monetized and, it's a hope and a prayer for me that there isn't ever a time where a kid, has to take the fall, because at the end of the day, he or she is, a kid or young adult, and, mistakes are going to happen. So that's my biggest hope. But so now, kind of giving a little bit of plug time. So who are you working with right now in terms of sponsors? I know you kind of mentioned the jewelry aspect as
Yeah.
well. And then,
I'll give them a little shout out. So Custom
go for
Cuff,
it.
they've sent me some pieces and it's amazing. I've literally been wearing it for 3 weeks straight and they don't do anything. It's been actually shocking because my mom makes jewelry, so I know kind of what is
Oh,
good and what's not good. So that's been great. I'm also working with another jewelry brand. She's smaller. It's 404 jewelry, and her pieces are so beautiful. And they're well priced. So that's
great.
been great. Potentially we'll be working with Misguided. It's a clothing brand. So it's just been like interesting to, figure out my way. Also kind of seeing if I could start modeling and, take pictures for my friends. And before you really couldn't do that because it's like, oh, you're using your name or your likeness or whatever it is. But now it's kind of like it's open. And I've had a lot of photographer friends that are just like, they want to get their name out and they want to get that exposure that they deserve because their work is amazing. So that's been what I've been doing so far.
And so, but is there any, if you had a choice, is there any brands or any, restaurants names that you would like to work with? I mean,
Yeah.
like if you got the call,
Honestly,
like
this might
like
sound
a reach
crazy,
one
but
even.
I would love Cookout. Cookout, if you want to sponsor me, I'm right here. I'm your girl. I go to Cookout so much, and being from California, it's not there. So it's like
Yeah.
when I first came here, that was all I went to, and I still go to there, and it's just love it, and it's so well priced. I can't.
Yes.
There's no complaints.
It's beautiful.
That's the one
Yes.
for me.
That's I love that just hit home for me. So thank you, Melissa, for mentioning that. So now I wanted to kind of get into kind of the rapid fire time. So to kind of finish out the
Okay.
episode, what we like to do so often is do like rapid fire questions, either this or that, and kind of learn a little about you, but also too, just have a little bit of fun with it. So
Yeah.
first question: beach or mountains?
Oh, the beach, 100%. I'm from
Yeah,
California.
I
Like
know,
that's
I
a
know.
given.
Well, I didn't know if necessarily, since you were around the beach so much, maybe you enjoy more of the mountains, it's because you
I
didn't
don't
really
like
have
the
that as much
cold. The
while.
cold is not for me. It's just I don't
Yeah,
like being I like to be in my summer clothes, shorts and
yeah,
shirts and not pants or jackets. I think I have like 3 jackets and they're all from NC State. Like I'm not
yep,
equipped for the cold. Oh,
makes sense. Favorite kind of food?
I have to go with Mexican or Cuban.
Yeah, there you go.
My
And
favorites.
so I'm not going to ask the next one because I know you're going to give me the same speech. I'm going to skip this one. Favorite animal?
I have to say cat. I have a cat. I just got one. Love her.
Okay. Oh, great. Favorite NC State tradition?
Love medias. I love going to medias. I know that
Hey,
probably isn't a tradition, but that's definitely it's part of the culture.
hey, tag right there too, Mia. So,
Right here
fa-
on the top.
yes. um, so again, I'm just kidding that because I was going to ask your favorite NC State area food spot, but there you go, Meteos. So Netflix or YouTube?
Okay, it's definitely has to be Netflix. I'm an anime girl. YouTube doesn't
Okay,
really have anime.
yeah,
Netflix has my heart.
there you go. Go out or stay in?
Can I say both? I think there's a I would
Yeah,
with COVID have to say going out. I've been in the house for so long. It's good to
yeah.
see people's faces.
Amen. Absolutely. Favorite band?
Hmm. Oh, this is not rapid. Oh goodness. I don't have a favorite band. I don't think.
None. All right. What about musical artist? How about that?
Love my women. Love Summer Walker, Kalani, Janae Eiko, you name it. All of them. R&B. It's my
Okay.
stuff.
Okay. And last one. So, would you rather have game-winning block, game-winning dig, or game-winning kill?
Game winning block by
Okay.
far. Love the
Ooh.
blocks. They're so fun. Blocks, it gets everyone hyped. Same with kills,
Yeah.
but blocks is like, I did that. I stopped her from getting the point. So
Yeah. Love that. Love that. Well, thank you all so much again for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed these conversations with Melissa. I know I did. And, I mean, so definitely make sure, if you haven't already, please make sure to hit that subscribe button for us. It's free to do, and it really helps support us and the channel. And please make sure to like this video. Check out all of our other great NC State content. Please follow us at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter and Instagram. And also to remember again to give Melissa a follow on her Twitter, Instagram, all our social media, and we'll have it all in the video description below. So thank you so much, Melissa, for joining, and best of luck next season.
thank you for having me. And thank you so much. Really excited for the fall. Hopefully I'll see you at a game.
Absolutely. We'll see you there, no doubt. So thank you all so much, and go Pack.